I got a salmon seine opening today. So we got to go count the boats, see where they're fishing, and then do a salmon survey, check to see where fish are and stuff. But it was a little bit foggy this morning, a little bit too foggy to fly, so we waited around for a couple hours, and the fog is starting to lift here enough that we can get out of town. So we sat around here on the dock until we screwed up our nerve to get in the airplane and get ready to take off to go check things out. I got in the airplane, got settled in, and then Paul shoved us off the dock, jumped on to get in, but he was having a little trouble getting in this morning, getting things moving this morning. It took a little bit to get going, not that we're in any hurry. It's just about low tide, pretty low tide here around this time of the year. You can see the sea anemones on the bottom, and once in a while see a rock or something as we taxi out. So I'm going to go ahead and taxi out of the seaplane harbor here and take a turn to the left, taxi down the Wrangle Narrows a little ways to the west, warming the engine up, and then we'll turn around back to the east and take off. Now, for the most part this year, the weather was pretty good. Had a lot of actually warm weather and a lot of dry weather, but there was a maritime high pressure area sitting over southeast Alaska for most of the summer, which meant there was a lot of stable air, and stable air brings fog and a little bit of drizzle and stuff. So there were quite a few mornings where it was foggy until 9 or so, and we couldn't take off until 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning to get started. Other mornings we'd get off at 6 o'clock in the morning and everything was just beautiful. But this is not one of those days. This is not one of the best days that we had this summer. The Norwegians that founded Petersburg didn't pick it for the weather. They picked it because they had fresh water here to wash their fish and stuff and to live on, and there was a ready supply of ice for shipping fish out of here. Petersburg is kind of known for having the worst weather in southeast Alaska. A lot of times here when the foggy and nasty right here in town, and we fight our way to get out of town, and once we get out of town a few miles, then weather picks up and is pretty nice. So once the weather lifted here enough, like it is now, where we had decent visibility and a ceiling to fly under, we figured if we could get out of town, we could get anywhere. That proves not to be the case today. When I said Petersburg gets some of the worst weather in southeast Alaska, what I meant is the ceilings and visibilities are usually the worst of any place around, or the most consistently bad of any place around. Low ceilings, low visibility. One of the things we don't get that they get in Ketchikan, Sitka, and Juneau is a wind. The wind has to be pretty strong before it blows in Petersburg very strong, so it's a pretty good harbor for operating a seaplane out of. And of course we got the high pressure ridge marine stable air here, and there's not much wind in that with the rain and the drizzle and the fog we've got here today. So instead of turning to the east and taking off to the east like you usually do into the wind, I'm going to go ahead and take off to the southwest here and then turn south down the Wrangle Narrows and follow it out. Once we turn south down the Wrangle Narrows here and head on down to Scow Bay, You can see that the mountaintops are kind of exposed here. The ceiling is actually pretty good, but there's layers of fog and clouds all over the place, and it was my judgment here to the best opportunity here to fly, to get through any place, was to stay low. There's some times when I can climb up and get on top of the scuzz and stuff, and I know I can get back down through it safely or find openings to get down through it, and it's better to be on top. But on a day like today, my judgment was that it was better to stay down low and stay underneath the crap. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fly down the Narrows here and stay 100 feet or so above the water. Speed things up a little bit here. The shortest, quickest route to where we want to go would be to climb up to about 3,500 feet and go directly over the top of the mountains that are straight ahead of us. Now, I didn't think that was a good idea today. If I'd had IFR capability, I might have been able to do that, but I don't like doing that kind of stuff. So we come down here to the corner right down below us. This is Papke's Landings we're coming by now. And we're going to come down into Blind Slough, and I'm going to follow the Blind Slough River up through a pass there to go out the other side. So that's the second shortest route to where we're going. No, it's a little scuzzy going through here, the low ceiling and stuff, but the visibility's good and there's plenty of ceiling right now to get through here safely. At least it looks like it for now. So we've actually made it through the pass. We're on the south side of the pass where we'd come out into Sumner Straits right here, or just about. And I just run into the crap so much that I just didn't feel comfortable going any farther than this. So we'll make the judgment call here and make a 180 turn and head back the way we came. Well, we're coming back out the north end of Blind Slough now, back into Wrangle Narrows. And this is where the Wrangle Narrows makes a sharp bend here and goes more to the west again. And then it goes a mile or so and then takes another sharp bend and goes back to the south. So we're coming out here to the end of Blind Slough, back into Wrangle Narrows. We're going to follow the edge of the mountains around and go back down Wrangle Narrows out to Sumner Straits. We've still got pretty good visibility here. The ceiling's dropping down, so I'm lowering my altitude now down to about 50 feet or so above the water, and expect it to open up as we get out here into the Sumner Strait, but it just keeps getting lower and lower. As long as I've got visibility, I can keep going here. There's nothing to hit out here over the water. Well, I'm out of Wrangle Narrows now into Sumner Straits, and I can see across over to Zerimbo Island. Oh, I've still got good visibility here, about 20 feet above the water here right now, and expect things to start opening up here any minute to where we get a better visibility and a higher ceiling. Okay, this isn't working out the way we expected it to. I got down here past St. John's Harbor and the visibility dropped off to just about nothing. I'm pretty low on the water here. So I'm turning towards Level Island now. See if I can get around the scud that's on that corner of Zerimbo Island as it merges into Snow Pass. But as we get out here along here, I can see that it's not going to get any better, so it's time to pull the pin and head back to town. I'm getting back over to where we can see Mitkoff Island pretty good. That's Warnowski Island off to the left side, and the Wrangle Narrows opening is right straight ahead of us. visibility's picking up and the ceiling's picking up as we get this way, so that's a good deal. It makes me happy that I can get a little bit more air between me and the water. Oh, we're back on home turf here now, back cozy between trees on both sides of us and a nice cottony ceiling above us and soft water below us. So we're going to buzz on back to Petersburg or towards Petersburg, following the Wrangle Narrows back to the north. Speed things up a little bit again. We tried to head south this morning first thing to do the work down that way. As we come back into town, the ceiling is picked up again here and the visibility's picked up and it's not too bad. Oh, we got work to do up to the north too and out around that area. So rather than land here in town, we're going to go ahead and try go out the east end of the Wrangle Narrows into Frederick Sound and try to go up Frederick Sound and see if we can't start up that way and work our way around the backwards instead of going the way we tried to start out. So we're going to go by Petersburg. This is Scow Bay we're going by now, and Libby Straits is right here ahead of us. Petersburg Creek goes off straight ahead towards the left, and we're going to come around the corner into Petersburg on the right, and then turn left in Frederick Sound. Well, as we come by 5 Mile Creek and get by Sockeye Islands here, headed north up Frederick Sound, the ceiling is starting to drop and the visibility is starting to drop a little bit here too. So I've dropped down to about 50 feet above the water right now. A lot of times we get up here to Beacon Point, it'll open up there a little bit, and maybe we can get around it. But that doesn't work out very well either. I get down pretty low here, and I can see over to the east side, to the mainland side, so sometimes you can get over there and get around the scuzz on that side, but I turned to head over there, and we couldn't get around it there either, so wound up turning around and headed back to town. We're crossing across Frederick Sound over towards the mainland, and that's Point Vanderput. Couldn't get by that way. I wound up getting pretty low along here, about 20 feet or so. Not a lot of maneuverability. Oh, discretion being the better part of valor, would turn and head back to town. At Sockeye Islands on the left and 5 Mile Creek on the right, ceiling and visibility are picking back up. Things are looking good, which is just the opposite of what usually happens when you come back to Petersburg. Oh, I'm going to turn the corner here back into Wrangle Narrows and fly back into the harbor in Petersburg. I'll go ahead and land and taxi in, tie up. And we're going to tie up there for another hour, about an hour or so, and the weather picks up enough that we could actually get out and do our job today. So we were able to get out and get our job done. We just had to wait for another hour or so for the weather to pick up a little bit more. Turned out to be a fine day.